Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at Keystone today. They pulled up a whole bunch of different stuff. We're kicking it off today with the front kitchen bullet. Now, if you're a regular watcher of the channel, you may have seen a floor plan that looks eerily similar to this recently, but with like this flip down balcony off the back in the bedroom. And a lot of people are like, man, I don't know if I really care for that in my bedroom space. Well, the good news is they make it without the balcony off the bedroom, so you don't necessarily feel like you're putting on a free show for the neighbors. I don't know. Anyway, if you haven't seen that, what are we looking at? A lot of manufacturers build a floor plan like this. It's a front kitchen with lots of counter space, super slide seating with a booth dinette or table and chairs arrangement. You can do a hide-a-bed, you can do a theater seat. You've got direct-facing entertainment, big old pantry-tainment center behind that. So like big pantry space right when you walk in the door, some solid storage there. With a walk-through middle bathroom that some people like, some people don't. There's different builders with different features. And take a look at the links in the video description if you want to see similar floor plans from other builders. But in the back of the sucker, we've got a full bed slide out with like your closet, dresser, entertainment across from that. I will say, like I always try to share the good with the bad. I think the closet space in this is fairly minimal. They kind of created a little bit of a workaround that we're going to talk about as we go, though. The underbelly is enclosed. It is forced air heated. They have an enclosed docking center. Goodyear Endurance radials, also a factory standard item on here, as is their HyperDeck composite floor system. And the bedroom has a gigantic window on the back. Really makes that room not look and feel so cramped. These are 50 amp. As you'll see today, you can get an optional second air from the factory. We can also install that from the factory. They have a 220 watt battery tending solar package and a bunch of other really cool things. And it's probably got some stuff you might not like too. I want to show you what I think are the good with the bad. And if you appreciate that candid approach, hit that subscribe button. Let's get in there. And like any RV, it's going to have things you like, things you don't. There's things I like, things I don't. But sometimes it's preferential and subjective, and sometimes it's objective. And I just kind of want to break it down and let you decide what's what. So, we're basically at the bathroom looking forward right here. Again, you do have a choice of a number of different seating selections, like theater seat and booth is what we're looking at today. But a trifold sleeper sofa hide-a-bed and a what do I want to say here? Freestanding table and chairs are also options. Didn't sleep great last night, so the brain is not braining very well today. One thing I do like about this is it is a free-floating table, but it is one of those big elliptical-based tables, so it's still a knee knocker. It's not long leg friendly for daddy long legs like me, but you can kind of shift and wiggle the table around. Oh, hold on. You see that little light under the table there? It's giving us a little bit of a look at the power outlet on the back of that, which is having a power outlet right in the dinette is really, really handy. Also, if you look between the two windows, there's a little black dot. That's actually a set of USB plugs, a Type A 2.0 and a Type C plug, really just helping giving you better power solutions. And throughout your this is your upgraded bigger bullet series. Basically you'll get the nicer blackout roller shades, but I like how it's all wood framed in with like that handy little window sill right there. Maybe be just enough to be able to set a phone if you need it, something like that. The ceiling, as you're seeing here, obviously has that, I'm bumping into stuff, has that barrel. And what do you think about the Ahsoka Tano lightsaber lighting, the Tron lights up here? When they first came out, people seemed to be all about them, but it feels like in my last couple of videos, folks have sort of been like, I don't know how I feel about those things. So it's kind of interesting how sometimes opinions and markets change. Now, this floor plan does a lot of good things. I like the fact that they went with this olive colored cabinetry. It's just something different from the same stuff that I see all day, every day in the industry. But this RV has about jack and squat for campsite window coverage. Most of your front kitchens, that's just not what they do very well. This concept, this layout just doesn't give us great campsite window coverage, but I do appreciate having a place to hang a jacket right when you walk in the door, or fly swatter, dog leash, whatever. That kind of stuff is very underrated and very useful. Now, historically, a series like this from Bullet would have been called Bullet Premier, but Premier has basically just been absorbed more directly into the Bullet family. A lot of people didn't realize Premier was a bullet, so they decided to really slap their name on it. Now, some people might ask, why is there a level change right there on the countertop? And basically, it's supplier limitation reasoning. The supplier just can't make one chunk of solid surface countertop that would completely fit all of this the way that I think the rest of us would prefer. And they had kind of a challenge here. They wanted to maintain some level of front pass-through, so they did build in nice, usable, functional lower cabinets that does steal some space from the front pass-through compartment. Thankfully, it kind of makes up for that by having some extra outside storage under the bed, but we'll get there in a minute. First of all, I just kind of wanted to open everything up and show you around. If you appreciate seeing all the different storage spaces like this, like maybe just even click the little like button on the video. And I try to do this anytime I can. I think it's an interesting touch. They put lights in the kitchen cabinets because it's not uncommon that you really can't see what you're doing in RV kitchen cabinetry. Though, due to the curvature and the shape of the front end of this, they weren't really able to build in effective overhead cabinetry across the nose. So sometimes I look at a front kitchen like this with the more aggressive, sweep back, kind of like my hairline on my forehead. And it looks a little missing or unfinished. It just is what it has to be, basically. It's just some brands do better with some floor plan systems than others. Oh, I forgot about this. The Hammerhead Shark faucet thing. And you're like, what do you mean Hammerhead Shark? Well, see, the thing is, it has both a waterfall sprayer and a direct sprayer, so you can kind of set it a little bit of however you want. Although this one, it's me, has a little bit of a Stephen Hawking thing going on, I suppose. Working our way around up here. You're an idiot. I don't know, what would you put up there? Glasses, pitchers, bread box? I'm not sure. This is actually really interesting to me. They do a full kitchen plus, is I think what I'm going to call it. So this is a 3-in-1 electric oven, air fryer, convection oven, and microwave all in one. But they also still include a propane oven down below here. Now, most manufacturers who give you an oven don't give you the 3-in-1. Well, most manufacturers give you a propane oven, don't give you the 3-in-1 electric oven like Bullet is doing here. So they're doing more than most brands, but that's going to mean a couple dollars. Down below the sink, I think you could probably fit like a Walmart-sized wastebasket. I'm always looking for wastebasket space in RVs. It's a smaller propane oven, like on the 16-inch variety, but at least it, is an oven. Oops, I always forget to grab this one down here. First of all, I want to mention these door pulls down low like this. They might not be the most dog collar friendly, but they're not the worst I've ever seen. Other than that, though, this RV is fairly pet friendly with like no heat vents in the floor or anything like that. This is a larger 10 cubic foot variety, 12 volt compressor fridge, by the way. And this is what I was saying earlier. You walk right in the door and you got yourself a big old pantry kind of thing right here. Now, they didn't make the shelving quite as deep as the pantry to make sure you could always reach the back of it. But that can also leave opportunities for some kind of DIY storage solutions in that sort of negative dead space there. I like the location of the converter fuse panel because I've seen some front kitchens where when the slides are closed, you can't get to that sucker. And Lord forbid you pop a fuse and you have to manually override a slide, which I've done, which sucks. It's nice to be able to get to that and just replace a fuse. Got the phalanges fryer down here, the Tootsie Toaster, as it were, just below your 12 volt, is that 12 volt? Smart TV. I got to double check the power source on that. I was looking at a ton of campers yesterday that had 12 volt TVs, and my brain just went immediately on 12 volt. So I need to double check that. That might be 110. Anyway, moving on from here. What do we got? We already talked about the different seating solutions. I would prefer if the theater seat had a folding armrest so that I could kind of do what I want with it. And remember, depending on the furniture setup that you get on this one, it actually can have a pretty solid guest capacity. Because like right now, we've got a small guest sleeper with the dinette. Now those cushions look like kind of a camel's back. Allegedly, the reason being if a kid lays on them and shifts around, the fact that they're a little bit oversized helps keep them from trying to walk away on their own. Don't know how much truth there is to that, but I've heard it from multiple different people. And you also have the option for a trifold sleeper sofa. But right now, again, we're looking at the theater seat. I'll give them credit. They all the little hollow, empty, negative dead spaces in the armrest, they really did everything they could to try to utilize those to give you like all the remote control storage you could imagine. And whether you're standing in the kitchen, sitting at the theater seat, or over here in the dinette, pretty much everybody can still get some kind of decent look at the TV there. Now, you might notice the entry door does have the privacy shade built into it. I can't remember if I've talked about that or not. I'm sorry. My brain's not fired up yet. But they do that in the rear private bedroom as well. And that's an area that a lot of manufacturers seem to lack, which I find very, very interesting. Got to get that slightly out of my way here. Now, this is a walk-through middle bathroom. Some people love them. Some people really don't. And if you love it, you might as well put a ring on it. And if you don't, take a look at the links in the video description, where I have similar floor plans from other builders, some of whom do not use a walk-through bathroom. So there's advantages and drawbacks both ways. We do have sliding privacy doors for both sides of the bathroom here. Starting down below, we have a porcelain foot flush stool that I'm looking straight down on. If you look on the right here, you can see that there's just fantastic, fluffy, friendly space about it. But then working our way up into the shower, I'm a little bit over 6 foot tall, even still wearing my shoes and my hat. Because of the barrel on that ceiling, I never had headroom issues in there. I was able to fit in this thing pretty darn easily and effectively. They are running one of these retractable kind of shower door jobs right here. It is the basic 4-inch dollar store fart fan, but if you want to upgrade to the Fajita Friday fume fighting variety, you can. Because remember, after Taco Tuesday, you run the risk of Wet Fart Wednesday. One of my viewers used that phrase the other day, and I said, one of these times I'm going to work that into a video. I'm not saying I'm going to do it every time, but I have a childish sense of humor. That makes me laugh. Anyway, the front air conditioner is centralized and it's 15,000 BTU. These campers are 50 amp. You can get a second air conditioner installed back here in the bedroom, but did you notice how the knobs were on it? The bedroom AC is not centralized. So you could turn this bedroom absolutely into an icebox, but the bedroom air isn't directly helping cool the rest of the camper. Now, I'm eyeballing this, but this looks like a 60 by 80 True Queen, so you should have some pretty comfortable kind of sleeping experience space in there. I did notice there is one heat ducting vent in the floor back here, and I am wondering how did they give us a privacy? Okay, so it's one giant blackout roller shade. I'm like, how do we privatize this? I knew they did something. I just wasn't sure exactly how they did it. The windows all around that bed, though, providing some pretty awesome airflow, including the Cyclops window right up there above the bed. I also noticed both sides of the bed have these little corner shelves, just enough for a phone. That's all it really is. But both of your both sides of the bed under the overhead cabinet have household and USB plugs. And you might have noticed real quick the yellow sticker on those. That's telling you that these are prepped for inverter operation. So if you're going to be parking where you don't have hookup, but you need to use CPAP machine or something, theoretically, you could add an inverter to the RV to gain that function, even when you are untethered, as it were. Now, bedroom storage on these 31 foot front kitchens is always a little bit tricky. And it seems like manufacturers tend to give us plenty of dresser space, but the hanging closet storage in this RV, I think, can reasonably be described as limited. Like, that's technically the only primary enclosed hanging wardrobe space that you have. Now, if I tell you, I'm going to keep my shoes off the bed, but if I kind of climb onto the bed here and I look straight across from you, I want to point out a couple things. On the right-hand side there, that's your second entry door. Some people argue they have no need for it, but for whatever reason, it's here. So they did at least put the privacy shade on it. They also gave you a space for, I'm going to say probably at least a 40-inch TV could fit up here pretty darn reasonably and easonably, which isn't a word, but I like the way that that sounds. But then they got these guys. If you want and or need a little bit more hanging space, they did give us a way to accomplish that. Now, the way that that thing sticks out to me feels like it could interfere with potential TV space. So it's going to be a balancing act on the things that you want and you need most. Now, the trick with a floor plan like this is due to the location of this second door, the bed kinda is in the way of you getting to the bathroom. And normally, an AccuSlide system, you don't want to climb on while it's retracted. And I can't get an angle to showcase them on camera, but I peeked under the bed, and you have wheels to help that bed roll in and out while it's retracted. I don't have official Keystone green light blessing on this, but I suspect they did that so that if the bed slide is closed, you can probably still occupy it and climb over it to get to the bathroom in transit, because I'm pretty sure when we get up here into this section that bathroom access is going to be blocked off by the slide here. Now, notice the crazy color changing that's going on with the different light that's affecting the camera lens currently. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought. You are not slipping through there unless you're a mouse. But if we utilize both doors, and going off the assumption that you can army crawl over the bed as needed, when you get in here, you can use like your sink, your drawers, your refrigerator. So you could have some somewhat functional travel stop action going on in this camper. I'm going to give it like a C+. I don't think it's really awesome travel access. I think it's like you can deal with it and you can tolerate it as a occasional travel stopper. If you're going to be an all-day, everyday travel stopper, I don't think you're going to like it. So if you appreciate the extra effort, the fair and candid look at where this thing shines or doesn't, please hit that subscribe button, like our video, and we'll hop outdoors. Now, one of the things I like to do is, I call it Let's Talk Towing. Your average salesperson at most RV dealerships are probably going to say, oh, if you have a half ton, you can tow this, absolutely no question, all day, every day. And historically, I used to be one of those until I learned more about towing. I don't know that this is necessarily going to be a good fit for a lot of half tons. There are theoretically some that could handle it, but a couple things. You know, we're 7,100 pounds dry, plus the cargo that goes into it, and we're 31 foot tip to tail. And with a front kitchen super slide, you're going to have a heavier hitch weight as compared to most travel trailers this size. And that can put some half tons, quite a few of them, in a little bit of jeopardy, especially if you're going to do any long distance or like mountains towing or something like that. So it's not that it's impossible for a half ton to work here, but if I'm going to give you a generalized recommendation, it's going to be a 3/4 and up. I feel a lot better about. Power tongue jack on the front, power 4 corners, stabilizers, and awning. So everything push button simple. You see that blue sticker? That's telling us that this is not riding on a traditional I-beam chassis. It's a Norco huck bolted chassis, which those things seem to have pretty solid service records. Up front here, it looks kind of blank because they leave a lot of space for some big battery boxes and whatnot in there. And then that big black box with the red switch on it, that's called the Giggy box. And it's basically a battery disconnect on steroids. One of the other cool things that it can allow for is it can allow the solar system to still feed directly to the batteries, even when the batteries are disconnected from the house, as it were. So while it's in storage, your batteries are staying topped off. They also have a separate disconnect specifically for the solar package in case you do pull the batteries off for long-term storage, over winter storage, where the solar panels could potentially get covered. Look at the power awning space on this. That has some serious patio coverage on it. And that's one of the other things I like about this one, having no slides on the campsite. Although you might notice they have gone with the double stable steps, which could sort of eat into your patio space a little bit, but I don't think it's a terrible major loss or anything like that. Working our way up here, A couple things. They are putting privacy shades in both entry doors, which I do like. But some people go, well, how do you manipulate them? You got to do what I've done right here. You've got to close the screen door, then you got to walk up the steps and adjust it up and down, which isn't awesome. But at least they put the shade in. A lot of manufacturers don't put any privacy shade in there at all, which in a bedroom or a bathroom entry door, I ain't exactly a big fan of. That's not where I feel I am at my most handsomest and feeling the best about myself. Now, most builders of a layout like this don't give you any variety of camp kitchen, and this is minimal, but having a fridge outside, even just the fridge, is so handy. And hey, sometimes some folks just like a little bit of, griddle action going on outdoors here, and this one's going to satisfy that for you. If you don't want to use the factory supplied griddle, you can always bring along like your own Blackstone and use the same grill hookup. The Goodyear Endurance radials are factory standard here, but something Bullet is just finally starting to get recognition for is they have, in the last couple of years, significantly, I feel, improved their suspension package. You might notice how you don't see a leaf spring system in between those tires. This is riding on a torsion suspension package like Rockwood, Flagstaff, Airstream, brands like that are well known and respected for, generally speaking, holding together pretty well long term. And it's long been my impression that if you want an RV that stays out of the shop, get an RV with a better suspension. So this is riding on a little different chassis with good tires, TPMS prep, and a bang-up suspension package for road travel. I think that's a cool thing. Now, you might notice on the front and the rear, the screw trim caps are also, LED lights. They look really neat sitting here. I don't know how useful they are on a campsite because they're, pointed off the front and rear of your RV. They're not exactly, shining light on your side of the campsite, but everyone's got a little bit different opinion there. I do think they look pretty sweet, but I could also see, if you forget you left them on, cheesing off the neighbors a little bit. This is a Class 2 receiver hitch down here. A lot of campers have a Class 3. If you don't know, the difference here is that basically that's exclusively a lighter duty bike rack with a lower weight capacity, whereas a Class 3 receiver on the back could be used for some heavier things like potentially a cargo tray, a generator pod, something like that. So, it makes sense what it is. Just be aware that not all rear hitches are the same. I can't remember if I shared this insight or not, but these are AccuSlide. This is the Norco AccuSlide system on the front and rear slides right here. And it's tight, but I appreciate how they still put the slide side breeze through windows on both the slides, because the bedroom slide is a little bit more shallow. And I'll bet your paycheck I forgot to unlock this thing because I sure don't remember doing it. Let's see what we got here. Yep, hold on. We got the technology here, folks. Can you believe they make keys for locks nowadays? What are they gonna think of next? Phones that fit in your pocket? Well, this was supposed to be simple and easy, but instead of being easy peasy lemon squeezy, it became difficult, lemon difficult. Especially since all we're looking at is just a big empty box. But I think every ounce of storage counts, especially on a front kitchen like this, where it does lose some of its pass-through storage capacity. The reason I paused is I want to take a knee. I'm looking for sewer outlets because a lot of these 30, 31-foot front kitchens, yep, there we go, hold on. Let me get twisted around here. So we've got sewer outlet 1 and 2, and man, they are under the slide outs. That is, for some folks, I know that's a major bummer. And I hope you appreciate that I'll go way out of my way to spot things like that, to help you know what you're getting into on an RV like this. Now, we are in basically a decommissioned production facility. This is technically Keystone Plant 19 right now. It's mostly used for showing RVs like this and less for building them currently. But as a result, sometimes I have to make sure that I'm not running into stuff over here. So apologies if I got right up close to the side of that. Up top there, you see your 220 watt factory solar package. In the front pass-through, you'll also see the Victron 30 amp MPPT controller. And to just grossly oversimplify it, essentially, Keystone is using a higher grade of solar hardware straight from the factory as compared to nearly anybody else out there, especially in this class. Now, there are some other brands that are roughly on par, but basically Keystone has kind of led the factory supplied solar charge, and there's still more that could be done, but they're doing better than most. Something else you may not have been able to see is it does have a portable prep plug for a suitcase solar package in case you want to park under the shade and chase the sun with a portable panel. So thanks again, everybody. Remember, take a look at the links in the video description if you want to see how much one of these is running and where we have it parked, or if you're like, I don't like the bathroom or whatever. Take a look down there and look for the similar floor plans from other builders, because they all do something the other one doesn't in roughly the same size with a similar floor plan concept, but slightly different execution. And maybe one has a queen bed, maybe one has a king, one has a camp kitchen, one doesn't. Whatever you're looking for, there's enough shades of this thing that we have that I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one that fits you. And short of that, if you appreciate the fair information and showing you all the storage and the road mode and everything, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.